Good afternoon. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope you all had at least somewhat restful period. Matt, you want to start us off?
Or you have nothing?
I have nothing but I have a little echo. I have an echo, but nothing to start with.
There is a bit of an echo.
Yeah.
Fixable?
Twice as nice today.
All right, well, let's just start with developments in yesterday in Beirut and today in Iran, and whether that, or what you think of that and those two developments, and whether or not that is in line with your wish to prevent the conflict from spreading.
Let me take them in order. Number one, with respect to the development yesterday, I will say that al-Aruri was a brutal terrorist who was centrally responsible for the attacks of October 7th, as well as other attacks against innocent civilians leading back to well before October 7th. With respect to the explosions in Iran today, what I'll say, we have been following the reports rather closely. We don't have any independent information to offer on them. We do express our sympathies to the victims and their loved ones who died in this horrific explosion. As I said, it's too early, at least for us, to be able to say what might have caused it. But I do want to address some of the irresponsible claims that I have seen circulate and say that, number one, the United States was not involved in any way, and any suggestion to the contrary is ridiculous. And number two, we have no reason to believe that Israel was involved in this explosion.
Why not?
We just do not have any information to believe that that's the case.
Did someone suggest that they were? I mean, other than
We have seen multiple accusations related to both supposed fictional United States involvement, and as I said, we have no reason to believe Israel was involved either.
on Beirut.
I don't have an assessment to make about who was responsible for that incident. I'll leave it to the government of Israel to speak to their actions.
Okay, but so more broadly, though, are you concerned at all that either or both of these are going to, turn this into the regional confrontation, regional conflict that you had been publicly saying you wanted to avoid?
We remain incredibly concerned, as we have been from the outset of this conflict, about the risk of the conflict spreading into other fronts, both inside Israel, whether it be in the north or whether it be in the West Bank, or outside of Israel, in other countries in the region, which is why you've seen the Secretary engage in intensive diplomacy to try to urge all of the relevant parties not to escalate the conflict, and other countries and other groups in the region not to escalate as well. I wouldn't say that our concern is any higher today than it has been from the beginning. It's been something that we've been intensely focused on. Sean, go ahead.
Just, I guess it's the obvious question. You said it's ridiculous to say that Israel or the U.S. were behind the Iran blasts. Who could be behind it? I mean, presumably you're not going to reveal intelligence here, but ISIS would be the obvious suspect. I mean, are there suspicions of other parties if you don't think it's Israel?
I just don't have an assessment to offer. It's too early, and we don't have any independent information that I can offer from this podium at this time.
Can I just say that, I mean, a bit what Matt was saying in terms of what this means for the region more broadly, having these attacks. I mean, is there concern about larger tensions rising, and what would be the message to the Lebanese government in particular, but also to Iran in terms of how to respond to these?
So the message will be the same message that we have been delivering. Really, if you remember, if you go back to the immediate aftermath of October 7th, the president delivered a message that any adversaries of Israel who were thinking about taking advantage of this conflict should think twice about doing so and should reconsider. The Secretary has delivered that same message in his 3 trips to the region, and he's sent that same message in phone calls with his counterparts in the region in the months since. It is also a message that we have sent when we have engaged with countries who have relationships in the region, often with countries with whom we don't have direct relationships. We have sent messages that these countries should deliver the message that it is in no one's interest. It's not in the interest of any country in the region. It's not in the interest of any country in the world to see this conflict escalated any further than it already is. And that's the message we will continue to send.